Alhamdulillah al-Alameen, wa salatu wassalam ala Rasulillah. Alhamdulillah, this is now episode 12 of the podcast, The Forward, with myself, Brother Mahdi Locke. And today's plan, if Allah so wills, is to do the fourth Hadith of Imam an-Nawawi's collection of 40, along with a commentary called Al-Wafi with Sheikh Mustafa al-Bugha and Sheikh Muhyiddin Mistu. Inshallah, we want to get started. I don't expect to do the whole thing in one lesson. I'll probably need about 2 or 3 sessions. And before I get into it, I just want to give a reminder to everyone that these podcasts that I'm doing, especially with this book, with this commentary, Imam an-Nawawi's 40 Hadith, you could call this a class, but it's not officially a class. This is more of it is a bit of tadhkirah, it's a bit of reminder, it is some wa'adh, it is in a sense some preaching. It's also the conveyance of knowledge, but I should remind readers I'm not officially anyone's teacher here because I don't know anyone personally, and I'm not sat in a classroom, I'm actually sat at a desk, and these podcasts are purely for the benefit of you, the listener, wherever you may be, wherever in the world you are. This is for your benefit. And with that said, obviously, if you have any questions, if you have any queries, if there's anything I've said, anything I mentioned that is unclear to you or does not make sense, or you need further clarification or elucidation, leave comments below. Please do. Please leave comments, whether it's on YouTube or my blog or SoundCloud, wherever it is that you're listening to this. Leave comments below because it's for your. These are for your benefit, and how you benefit from this is up to you. You can listen to these while driving, you can listen to these while cooking, while cleaning up, while doing dishes, or whatever it is. Or if you want, you can take a pen and paper and sit down and take notes. However, you benefit. This is a modest effort from myself to convey knowledge, to seek the pleasure of my Lord, and see what benefit comes out of it. I should also mention, I myself, like I said, I'm not teaching this because I myself I'm an itinerant traveler, so to speak. I'm not permanently settled anywhere. I move around. I am in the Muslim world. I do visit England on an annual basis, but I no longer believe so much in planting myself in one physical location and just teaching the people who are in that location. I used to think that way back in the day. I used to think, maybe 10 years ago, I used to think, it would be great to go out to the Muslim world, for 5 years or 8 years or whatever, and study fiqh and get some books studied and memorized and get an ijazah and stuff like that, and then come back to England and then set up an institute or work for a masjid. I no longer think that is the day and age anymore. I don't think that is the way things work anymore. And I have seen people I know, I don't want to mention names, but I've seen people I know who've done that, who've gone out to the Muslim world and then returned to England or America, wherever, and it hasn't worked out well. They've sort of ended up, outside of the community, or they've ended up on their own. Or if they've stuck around, they've sort of been mainstreamed. And what I mean by that is priorities have changed. Priorities have been altered. So where at first priorities were about the truth and just conveying Islam as it is, conveying the faith as it is, and just being very forthright, priorities then changed and became more about keeping up appearances, maintaining a good image, keeping up a nice PR face, so to speak, and things watered down, or things get watered down, I should say, and the outcome is not necessarily beneficial. So I don't think that is the way to do things anymore. People are free to disagree with me, but I can't deny the fact that at the same time, while I've been living abroad, while I've been living in the Muslim world, is now almost 10 years now, I've been studying, I've been translating, I've been getting books down, spending time with teachers, and I don't want to be just hoarding the knowledge, so to speak. I have to share the knowledge. This is what I'm commanded to do. I have to convey what I've studied. I have to revise what I've studied. I have to remain engaged with what I've studied. And therefore, a podcast like this makes the most sense. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So I've got this book here in front of me, this commentary on the an-Nawawi, and I've got other books lined up. So this is how I, inshallah, will convey whatever I've studied to get knowledge across. And however you benefit from this is up to you. Like I said, whether you want to listen to this while you're driving or cooking or cleaning or doing dishes, or while you're driving, while you're working out, whatever it is, please go ahead and do so. And if you have questions or queries or even suggestions of stuff you'd like me to talk about, please go ahead and leave comments below. Because again, I'm not sat here in a classroom. There isn't another group of people who are a priority. If you are a listener, you are a priority. You are the intended audience. So please don't hesitate to reach out and leave some comments below, make suggestions, ask questions, and take part in however way you feel. And also, whatever benefit you're getting, share it. Share the words, share the videos, share the podcasts, and with Allah's ever success. So after that lengthy preamble, I will now go into the fourth hadith. And this is on the authority, this is on the authority of Abu Abdurrahman, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, radiallahu anhu. This is a famous hadith, the fourth hadith of this collection. And just to give you a hint, you should compare this, or cross-reference this with the fifth ayah in Surah Al-Hajj, the 22nd chapter. So the hadith starts off. I'm using the translation again by Abdul Samad Clark. I'll read that off to you because he translated Imam an-Nawawi's hadith with Imam an-Nawawi's own commentary. It's available from Taha Publishers. The price has gone up slightly. It's now £5. Okay. Abu Abdurrahman Abdullah Mas'ud said, "The Messenger of Allah told us, and he is the truthful one who is confirmed. He is as-Sadiq al-Masduq. He is the truthful one who is confirmed. He said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, any one of you, his creation is gathered in the belly of his mother for 40 days as a drop. Then later he is a blood clot for the like of that. Then later he is a morsel of flesh for the like of that. Then the angel is sent to him and breathes the spirit into him, and he is commanded with 4 words, with writing his provision, his lifespan, his action, and whether he is happy or grievous. By Allah, the one other than whom there is no God, one of you will do the actions of the people of the garden until there is only 1 cubit between him and it, and then the decree will overtake him, and he will do the actions of the people of the fire and thus enter it. One of you will do the actions of the people of the fire until there only remains a cubit between him and it, and then the decree will overtake him, and he will do the actions of the people of the garden and so enter it." And that is the statement of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this is in Al-Bukhari and Muslim, the collections of Imam al-Bukhari and Imam Muslim, and is also found in the collections of Abu Dawood, Imam Abu Dawood, Imam at-Tirmidhi, as well as Imam Ibn Majah. So the two sheikhs, Sheikh Mustafa al-Bagha and Sheikh Muhyiddin Mistu, they go into their commentary and they start and they say, Hadal hadith azim. This hadith is immense. It is sublime. It is amazing. It gathers all the states of man, from the very beginning of his creation and his coming into this life, this dunya, until the end of his states, or the last of his states, which is going to be either eternity in the abode of bliss, i.e. paradise, or the abode of wretchedness, which is the fire, based on what he earned in this life. What he earned, the deeds and so forth that he earned in this life. And all of that is in accordance with Allah's qadr and his qada. Now, a quick thing that will come up here, and this is just aside from the commentary, just to answer any questions. I think this will come up later in the book, but just to give you a brief introduction, a brief note about this. We have qada and qadr. Now, qadr and qadr is predestination, and qada is decree. Qadr is connected to Allah's qudra, is connected to Allah's power, whereas qada is connected to Allah's knowledge. So qada is Allah's knowledge of everything that is going to happen. Everything that's going to happen in the universe from the very beginning of creation, all the end of time, absolutely everything. That is Allah's qada. From beginning to end, everything, his knowledge of everything that is, that was, that ever will be. That's his qada. His qadr, the qadr of Allah, is Allah bringing those things into existence, and thus they happen. That is the difference between qada and qadr. Qada is connected to Allah's knowledge. Qadr is connected to Allah's qudra, or his power. So that's the first thing. The second thing to bear in mind is that this does not mean in any way that we are forced, that we do not have free will. Because Allah has said in Surah Al-Kahf, in the 18th chapter, verse 29, "Say it is the truth from your Lord, so let whoever wishes believe, and whoever wishes disbelieve." This is Surah Al-Kahf, the 18th chapter, verse 29. And another evidence verse to look at is in Surah Al-A'raf, the 7th chapter, I believe it's verse 172, where Allah says, "And when your Lord took out all their descendants from the loins of the children of Adam and made them testify against themselves, 'Am I not your Lord?' Alastu bi rabbikum. Am I not your Lord? They said, 'We testify that indeed you are, lest you say on the day of rising, i.e. the day of judgment, we knew nothing of this.'" And Imam al-Jawzi in his tafsir Zad al-Masir, fi ilmi tafsir, he says that at that moment, this is before the children of Adam enter this world, Allah has all of humanity, the entire human race, testify before him. And he asks them, "Am I not your Lord?" And they all testify, and they say yes. They testify, they agree to it. But Imam al-Jawzi explains, and he says, now obviously some people meant it and some people didn't. Some people meant it and some people didn't. They lied. And the effect of that is in this world. We can see there are people who, they said Bala shahidna, they said indeed we bear witness, and they meant it, and these are the people who are believers and they die on faith. And it's connected to this hadith. These are people who are believers and then they die in faith. And there are other people who they might live their whole life as disbelievers and die on disbelief. There are people who might live their whole life as believers and then go into disbelief and then die. Why? Because when they made that original statement, they said, yes, we bear witness, they didn't mean it. They were not sincere. And therefore the decree catches up with them and they join the people of the fire. There are other people who they might live their whole life in disbelief, and then right at the end of it, they become a believer. And I know of stories like this, where stories from England, where there's one story I once heard of a woman in England. I think this is in Bradford or Leeds. There was a woman who was an English woman who was in an old folks' home, a hospice, or one of the two, and there was a younger Muslim woman who came to see her and take care of her, and the elderly English lady asked the younger Muslim lady about her faith and what she believes and so forth. And she ended up asking her about the basic faith, the basic theology, and about the testimony of faith. And the lady learned the testimony of faith. This elderly English lady, she's learned the testimony of faith. And she just said it to herself. She said, "Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah." She memorized it, and she understood what it meant. And she said it to herself, and she just said it to herself over and over and over again. And then she fell asleep while saying it. That night, she fell asleep while saying the Shahada to herself, and she never woke up. So there you have it. Someone can live their whole life and not being a Muslim, then right at the end of it, within 10 hours of death or 6 hours of death, something comes to them, a message, a person, and they accept Islam and they believe in it, and they just die upon that. And this is the way Allah works. But to clarify this point about free will and predestination, so yes, predestination is true, but human beings make that choice. You make that choice to believe, and you make that choice to obey and to disobey. And a really odd thing that I think people don't really consider, I'm saying people in general, whether they're believers or not believers, but especially non-believers, they don't really consider this. But even though there are some philosophers amongst them, like John Gray in his book Straw Dogs, that's one example that comes to mind. He's one of the few people who has realized that the choices you make in life are very, very few. And people like to talk about freedom. Oh, isn't freedom great? And I want to do whatever I want. Well, think about how many things in your life you don't choose. You don't choose who your parents are. You don't choose who your siblings are. You don't choose who your ancestors are. You don't choose where you're going to be born. You don't choose what country you're going to be born in. You don't choose your nationality. You don't choose your ethnicity, your race. You don't choose what school you go to. You don't choose what kind of house you're going to live in as you grow up. I mean, there's so much of your life, especially before you reach adulthood, that you have absolutely no control over. You don't make any decision during that period of time. Up until the time when you're maybe 16 or 17 or 18, you're not making any decisions for yourself, pretty much. But what happens during those 16, 17, 18 years definitely, most definitely, has an effect and an influence on the rest of your life. And when you really, really want to boil it down, and you look at your daily life and how many things happen in your daily life that you actually have control over. You don't control the people that you're going to deal with. You don't decide who you're going to meet, who you're not going to meet. You don't decide if someone's going to hit your car or not hit your car, or if someone's going to someone's going to offer you something or not offer you something, or someone's going to help you or not help you. You don't have any power over that. So when you really, really, really boil it down, it's like you have two choices in life. Number one, believe or disbelieve. And then number two, if you believe in a law, is to obey or disobey. That's fundamentally what it comes down to. There isn't much else. And once you realize that and you submit to that, that fact. Remember, that's what Islam means, submission. You submit to that fact. There's very, very little that you actually have control over. Right? There's lots of little decisions that you can make during the day. Yes, I'm not saying that you can choose what to have for breakfast, and you can choose what time to set your alarm and things like this. But fundamentally, your choices in life are believe or disbelieve, obey or disobey. Those are your fundamental choices in life. So obviously choose to believe and choose to obey, and ask Allah for success. So we'll go into it. I've reached almost 20 minutes now, this podcast. So I think what I'll do is I will go over some of the language of the Hadith, and then we will stop there so that I can do this the rest of this at a later time. So the first word that the two sheikhs pick up on is obviously the word sadiq, the truthful one. And this means, in the Arabic language, that means that in everything this person says, It is the truth, it is veracity, and it agrees with the reality. It agrees with actual fact. That's what we mean by someone who is sadiq. Someone who is sadiq, when they speak the truth, and what they say agrees with reality, it agrees with actual fact. And this is what ilm is. When we talk about ilm, true knowledge means that you know things as they truly are, as they actually are in reality. Whereas jahl is knowledge of things in other than the reality, right? It's thinking that you know something. You know something, but it's not really knowledge because it doesn't match reality. That's what, for example, knowledge of evolution. Knowledge of evolution is not knowledge. It's knowledge of something, because that's knowledge of something that doesn't correspond to reality. Or, knowledge of certain historical events that never really happened, or have been distorted, or have been corrupted. That's not real knowledge because it doesn't match reality. So that's the meaning of the word sadiq. Then we have the word masduq, the one who is confirmed. And the two sheikhs explain he's confirmed in what has been revealed to him, because the angel Gabriel, or the Malik Jibreel alayhi salam, comes to him with truthfulness, with veracity. And Allah the Exalted affirms him in whatever He promises him. Then the next word is, in ahadakum yujma'u khalquhu fi batni ummihi, right? That one of you is gathered in the belly of his mother for 40 days. So yujma'u means to be gathered, and also to be preserved and joined together. His creation, khalquhu, means that the substance from which he is created. And this is the water or the fluid that he is created from. In the belly of his mother, i.e. in her womb. First, he is a nutfa, which is a drop. And the asl of the nutfa is clear water, and what is meant here obviously is semen. Then he is an alaqa. And what we mean by alaqa here is a blood clot, so it's like a piece of blood that has not dried, and it's called an alaqa because it hangs down. And then we have a mudgha. Then we have the mudgha, and it is a piece of flesh, and it looks like something that's been chewed. It's the size of something that you would chew. That's the meaning of mudgha. Then we have فَيَسْبِقُ عَلَيْهِ الْكِتَابِ. فَيَسْبِقُ عَلَيْهِ الْكِتَابِ, meaning that what is already preceded in the knowledge of Allah, i.e. in the preserved tablet, or that which preceded him in the belly of his mother. Because the belly of his mother, as it says here, that was when all these things were written for him, right? His provision was written for him, his lifespan was written for him, his actions, and whether he was going to be happy or grievous, whether he was going to be in felicity and bliss or in wretchedness, that was written for him while he was in his mother's womb. All of that will catch up to him. That's what they mean by فَيَسْبِقُ عَلَيْهِ الْكِتَابِ. And that is the language of the hadith. The next section is the fiqh of the hadith. But I think we'll stop there. I think I do owe listeners a shorter podcast, because last time I went on for a long time. I went over, I think, about 45 minutes. So I will stop there. Alhamdulillah rabbil alameen wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. And inshallah I will start with the fiqh of this hadith in the next episode. And with Allah alone is every success. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.